Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our educational vlog where it talks about the Filipino values and moral development. Also, the strengths and weaknesses of the Filipino character. So, what are there in the Pinoy character that makes us strong as a people? So, first character that Filipino has is pakikipagkapwa-tao. So, in other words, human fellowship. Pakikipagkapwa-tao, it is a basic sense of justice and fairness concern for others. Also, ability to empathize with others. We Filipino are known to be a hospitable person. We tend to help and give to someone if they're in times of need. Or if you are a familiar of bayanihan, that is one of the best example of a pakikipagkapwa-tao. Also, we have sensitivity to people's feelings or pakiramdam, pagditiwala or trust, sense of gratitude or utang na loob, very dependent on interpersonal relationships, give sense of security, and last, camaraderie and a feeling of closeness to one another. And now, the second strand of the Filipino character is family orientation. We Filipino possess a genuine and deep love for family. Our family is the source of personal identity, emotional and material support. Also, one's main commitment and responsibility. We honor and respect given to parents and elders, care given to the children, the generosity towards kin in need, and in great sacrifices one endures for the welfare of our family. Third strand of Filipino character, which is the joy and humor. Filipinos have a cheerful and fun-loving approach to life and its ups and downs. Pleasant disposition, a sense of humor, and a propensity for happiness that contribute not only to the Filipino charm but also to the indomitability of the Filipino spirit. I know all of us know what is memes. It can be example of joy and humor because we Filipinos are very playful and makes jokes, especially right now the very controversial issue today, which is the 2020 election. Some of the running president Filipinos makes fun of them. And now let's proceed to the fourth strength, which is the flexibility, adaptability, and the creativity. We can adjust and to adapt to our circumstances and the surrounding environment, both physical and social. Adjust to whatever happens, or even in unplanned or anticipated events. Also, we possess a tolerance for ambiguity that enables us to remain unfazed by uncertainty or lack of information. The fifth strand is hard work and industry. We have the capacity for hard work given proper conditions, to raise one's standard of living and to possess the essentials of a decent life for one's family. We are willing to take the risk with jobs abroad, and some Filipinos works more than 2 or 3 jobs. The sixth strand is faith and religiosity. We all know that Filipinos have deep faith in God. Our innate religiosity enables us to comprehend and genuinely accept reality in the context of God's will and plan. Religious expressions is very tangible, expressed every day. We relate to God like human being. We thank God, also ask forgiveness and guidance to our Almighty God. Tragedy and bad fortune are accepted because we believe it is the will of God. Example, as a student, if we get low grades, as long as it is not failed subject, we just say bahala na or it's okay as long as we did not fail the subject. The seventh strand of the Filipino character is the faith and religiosity. Our faith and daring was manifested at EDSA and other times in our history. We Filipinos recognize forces to external to ourselves as contributing to no events in our lives turn out. The result of the Filipinos' faith are courage, daring optimism, inner peace, as well as the capacity to genuinely. Lastly, the strength of the Filipino character is the ability to survive. We Filipinos make do with what is available in the environment. Filipinos have an ability to survive, which is manifested in our capacity for endurance despite difficult times in our ability to get by. Filipino survival skills are techniques that a person may use in order to sustain life in any type of natural environment. If there are strands of the Filipino character, there is also a weaknesses in the Filipino character. The first weaknesses of the Filipino character is the extreme personalism. World in terms of personal relationship, no separation between an objective task and emotional involvement. There is in fact some basis for such interpretations as Filipinos are quite personal in criticism and praise. The second one is extreme personalism. Because of this personalistic worldview, Filipinos have difficulty dealing with all forms of personal stimuli. We tend to be uncomfortable with bureaucracy, with rules and regulations, and with the standard procedure, all of which tend to be impersonal. Preference is usually given to family and friends in hiring, delivery of services, and even in voting. Extreme personalism thus leads to the graft and corruption evident in the Philippine society. And now, the third weaknesses of the Filipino character is the extreme family-centeredness. Excessive concern for family manifests itself in the use of one's office and power as a means of promoting the interests of the family, factionalism, patronage, and political dynasties, and also in the protection of erring family members. And the fourth weaknesses is the lack of discipline. The Filipinos' lack of discipline is manifested in a casual and relaxed attitude towards time and space, which manifests itself in lack of precision and compulsiveness, in poor time management, and procrastination. We are guilty of ningas kugon, starting out projects with full vigor and interest, which abruptly die down, leaving them unfinished. Fifth weaknesses is the passivity and lack of initiative. Filipinos are generally passive and lacking in initiative. We tend to rely on others, especially on government, leaders, and many more. There is high tolerance for inefficiency, poor services, and even violations of one's basic rights. The sixth weaknesses is the colonial mentality. The first dimension is the lack of patriotism, or an active awareness and love of the Philippines. The second one is actual preference for things foreign. Filipino culture is characterized by an openness to the outside. The seventh weaknesses is the Kanyakanya Syndrome. Filipinos have selfish, self-serving attitude that generates a feeling of envy and competitiveness towards others. The Kanyakanya Syndrome results in the dampening of cooperative and community spirit and in the trampling upon the rights of others. Lastly is the lack of self-analysis. In the face of serious problems, both personal and social, there is lack of analysis or reflection. We joke about the most serious matters, and this prevents looking deeply into problems. There is no need to validate or hypothesis or explanation of things. The Filipino lack of self-analysis and our emphasis on norms is reinforced by an educational system that is often more form than substance, and a legal system that tends to substitute law for reality. And that's the end of our discussion. I hope you learned from it. Thank you for listening.